One of my favorite parts about getting to do the Spector Creative channel is it's a fantastic way to get back in touch with all of the toy fans out there because I get a lot of letters and comments. One of the letters I got recently from Adam Selecki asked me about a recent Transformers Legacy line reveal from Hasbro, where the new Wave 2, has almost all bad guys and a female, which tends to go against the concept for what makes a good pack out. I've made quite a few videos talking about toy pack outs and the need to always have A-list heroes out on shelf because that's what sells the most to kids. Well, with this new wave of Transformers Legacy figures, the question that Adam is asking in his letter is, why would Hasbro take this risk? So if you're not familiar with Transformers, or Transformers Legacy as a toy line, it's kind of, sort of, their version of Marvel Legends or Star Wars Black Series in the sense that it comes in a square box, and it's a little bit more collector-centric, and skews a little bit older, and, well, it really looks cool on shelf. It just launched, and it's been very popular. Now, the first wave was chock full of good guys and A-list bad guys, and it made sense with a launch wave to do something like that. But as Adam wrote in his email, the second wave, which was just revealed, doesn't have A-list good guys in it, which on the surface looks like it's a sort of major violation of, what works in the toy aisle. Now, if you recall, Todd McFarlane from McFarlane Toys recently made a comment about how, if it's not an A-list hero, after that, villains, sidekicks, females after that. So why in the world, everyone in the toy industry knows this. Why would Hasbro create a wave that doesn't have an anchor with an A-list hero? Is there concern that this wave of bad guys could possibly throw the entire Transformers Legacy line off the track? Well, technically, yes, that could happen, but the inherent risk with not including an A-list hero in a Transformers wave is very, very different from how it is with other toy lines. And that's actually what I want to talk about. Why is it that Transformers is different? Why do the rules, if you will, about doing case packs not necessarily apply? Well, here's the thing. Transformers, while we think of them possibly as action figures and they're sold in the figure aisle, they're not action figures. No action figure is really included. Okay, yeah, I get it. We all know what an action figure is. We all know how to define an action figure. It's usually articulated. It's usually based on some kind of combat situation or what would be called aggressive play. In the toy industry, they actually call this doinky doink play, as if a kid would take two toys and sort of, smash them into each other. And for the most part, action figures tend to be superheroes and other characters with sort of fantastic powers that combat evil. It's an innate part of the sort of action figure world. Now, taking a step back and looking at the things boys are into, especially young boys who are the demographic for action figures and Transformers, not that girls can't play with them, but what pops up a lot are vehicles, dinosaurs, robots. And that's not a surprise because it actually, again, going back to that interview Todd McFarlane did a few weeks ago where he talked about how a boy in the toy aisle, they're going to say, oh, can I have a giant monster toy or a giant dinosaur toy or what about a giant robot toy? Boys, young boys especially, and again, no reason girls can't be like this, but for the most part, boys are into things like fire trucks. Fire trucks are the number one selling toy to young boys. Or caped superheroes, where you clearly know sort of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. Robots are different. So, to a child, a robot represents, in a way, a perfected version of themselves. It's a mechanical person, a mechanical man, a mechanical woman, mechanical thing. It has overcome all of the flaws of being a person. Flaws such as getting hurt or having emotions, if you will. Things that children have a hard time with because, well, having emotions or physically getting hurt is something that's very traumatic or very world-changing for a child, especially if, they're experiencing new emotions or, extreme emotions, shall we say. So, robots, while they tend to be, call it genderless, obviously children can see gender in robots, especially when color is used. Color is a big indicator, especially amongst inanimate objects, to try to indicate some type of gender of that object to a child. With a transformer, though, you're not just a robot, but you're a robot that is two different things. A sort of humanoid form and and something else. In this case, a box. Okay, that's not a transformer, that's just a wooden sliding robot puzzle, but it's exactly the point in what I want to illustrate and answers the original question from the mailbag there, is why is it that Hasbro is willing to risk a wave with no A-list heroes? Well, that's because this is what a transformer is. It's a puzzle box. I've mentioned this in a few different videos. Transformers, unlike traditional action figure play, which is, as I said, the industry calls it doinky doink play, and whether you're dealing with things like a codex or a door locking mechanism, I mean, these things go back tens of thousands of years. Puzzle boxes and transforming wooden boxes and metal boxes and puzzles have been a part of culture for years because there is a payoff to playing with it. When you can move it from, if you will, form A to form B, and whether that's turning a box into a truck or just finding a way to open a box, going from closed to open, you've succeeded in playing out the play pattern. With a robot that turns into something, well, suddenly now you have a generic buddy, a friend that to a child represents an idealized version of a person that, again, can't get hurt, can't feel emotion, so it's protecting them from these things. And the joy of being able to transform that robot, and with ideally several simple moves of, moving the arms around and clicking the wheels in the right place, well, you get the payoff of transforming your robot into something else. In the case of most Transformers, it's a vehicle, whether it's a car or a plane or submarine or, Astro Train actually turns into two things, which is why he's one of my favorites. That's not important right now. The point being is, unlike traditional action figure play, Transformers is puzzle box play disguised as a robot. It's why it's so successful. It hits on so many things that young children love. And anything that is a robot that is in sort of a different form is seen by children as really a transformer. This dinosaur toy can play with Transformers. It could be a Dinobot, even though it's not officially a Hasbro product. It's the way kids play. Anything that is similar in function can live in the same world. So with Transformers having a wave of all bad guys, it doesn't matter because children are attracted to robots in general. So this is a very mitigated risk on Hasbro's part. Yes, doing a wave with no A-list heroes can absolutely be detrimental to PEG sales. But when you're dealing with robots, and robots that are about puzzle box play, meaning changing from form A to form B, for a child, it's just about the coolness of the robot. They're really just looking at two things: color and silhouettes. This is a very important thing in the toy industry. It's actually how Hot Wheels are also sold. It's why Hot Wheels are sold, if you will, from a horizontal look. You're looking at the car from left to right, not straight on at you, because it maximizes the silhouette that you're seeing on shelf. And that's what Transformers are. A child is looking for colors they're attracted to, and they're looking for shapes they're attracted to. They're not looking at the Transformer as necessarily a representation of the content and saying, oh, that's a good guy, that's a bad guy. When you're dealing with a robot, with a humanoid robot, if you will, well, a humanoid robot, but not a person, it's not about the character. It's simply about solving the puzzle and picking out a robot that either transforms into a car, vehicle that you like, or really one that you're just attracted to the shapes and colors. It's why Transformers is a very different toy line, and honestly, the standard rules for case packs and retail distribution don't apply because it's a different play pattern and a different type of experience. You're taking one object and you're physically manipulating it using your hands, and that creates the emotional payoff. So yeah, as long as the characters look cool, they're easy to transform, and they're very colorful, they'll sell. It's one of the joys of getting to work on a robot toy line. And while it doesn't apply to every robot toy line, Transformers has excelled with this. I hope this video sheds some light on why Transformers case packs are different, and why we shouldn't worry about this Legacy Wave 2 being anything that's going to throw Transformers off the rails. Unless, of course, you're, a train transformer, like Astro Train.